loving you fearlessly. I want to be fearless. I'm loving you fearlessly. Hello, family. If you hear, what might you hear? Tiredness, a little weariness. It's not about feeling sorry for me at all. I'm thankful that I get to express myself and my heart and point of view and introduce you to a movement that I know that's founded on love, and to invite you into something that hasn't been done before. And now we're in day 5 of that, and technically day 6 for me. I've never been this vulnerably open in this area of my life, of the world, really around this area, because it's complicated, right? It's complicated not just because we're talking about human reconciliation, but it's complicated because we have to look at ourselves in these categories and see our own close personal relationships that aren't perfectly there either. We can get caught up in the weeds of that and almost say, oh, if I don't have all my personal relationships right with my children, my family, a significant other, or whatever the case may be, is that might mean that I can't speak to social disconnection and so forth. No, I want us to look at this. We're talking about social human things here. We're people that we don't even necessarily know that deeply, that we are prejudging them, have biases towards them, right? Discriminate, or even have some form of racism, sexism, a phobia, or something like that, that's unfounded, unwarranted, not based on their character, not based on any actions. And then, yes, we can go to other things where we have to forgive, even if there are missteps. But I'm talking about the basics of the fact that there's 340 million of us roughly. I can't keep up with the numbers here in the United States, 8 billion around the planet. And the reality is, and today you see the word, is that we're connected. And that's one of those things where even if you want to deny that it's true, you don't get away from the effects of it. So we are here in the midst of the 8 hours to choose that started, as I said, on July 3rd, where we had a countdown and said, happy birthday, the United States of America. And do you mind maybe being a little less bipolar? And we are, and meaning having such extreme hate and such extreme love, because we are a very compassionate country around the world and even locally. I don't want to just act like, based on what we see in the images that we're exposed to, that there's just a bunch of folks in these far corners, right, that just hate each other, that they're just that is just acceptable, and that's the norm and or the majority. I believe, and I know it's the minority. My life says otherwise, and I can say, speaking from that perspective, being involved in the corporate world, in the education world, in private and public or private schools, and living in Chicago, living in Los Angeles, living in Denver, traveling around the world, is that actually a majority of people believe we're connected. Majority of people see equal value in human beings and say, you know what, do your thing. We may not agree with everything, right? But I can respect you as a human. All right, we can agree to disagree. So on July 4th, we became 244 years old. And just like we celebrate the United States, the New Year, and our birthdays, I said, how about we start a birthday America, United States of America, with 8 days of choosing love over hate. And then we got together as a team and said, we can walk through the principles of which that we think and believe and have seen can take a person from completely the opposite spectrum of oneness, as we believe in oneness, we believe we're one, and travel them or begin the journey away from bias, away from discrimination, away from prejudice, and initially away from racism. And now we find ourselves on hour 5 connect. So first we understood. We said the humility to understand and admit that we don't understand everything or everyone or even the choices that they have and have not made. Then we must forgive. And that's where it got already supernatural, because who can put a clock on that? So watch that as we walk towards reconciliation and walk towards oneness in action and so forth. Remember that these aren't just check boxes. These are real human beings that have really suffered and died and been abused and seen things and been scarred and need help as well. And there's systemic things that need to happen. But I am focused on the human, because just because there's a law that tells you that you can't just treat me any kind of way, I actually want to reach into your chest and your heart and say, look at me eye to eye and go, I don't know you. I don't know why before I had hate towards you, or why before I feared you, right? Or why I didn't think you had equal value or didn't help you, but I want to change. So then we went into day 3, relate. Day 4, heal, another supernatural moment. But I do think it's real. It's not just foo-foo steps. These are real steps, because if those wounds aren't healed, guess what? You can't even if that muscle's not healed, you can't even grab someone's hand. Let's use that for example. That arm was healed. It wasn't healed. And now we're in connect, where I'm going to hit the fact that we're connected and we need to connect. And that's what's going to lead us into, I'll give you a preview into reconciliation, but you can't connect. You can't even reconcile. I can't wait for you to hear our guest today and our guest tomorrow. That's the exciting part for both for me and for you. You won't just hear me running my mouth in person and or on video. We have guests for the next 4 days. We've got guests from different walks of life. They're going to share some tender moments. Today, we're going to hear from Mona Clark. You better not change. You got to watch this stream. If you have to stop, watch it later. This woman is a movement. And she talks about the way she walks as if it's like normal. That's what I love about people that walk like this. They're just like, I just see people. I just run for others because it's the right thing to do. I did put my foot in my mouth and I said, I wanted to clone you, Mona. And she said her children might not like that. But anyway, I'm giving you too much. Watch the episode, watch the conversation. What I want to do is quickly lay the foundation for that talk, though. So I'm going to do just a very short close at the end of it, because these videos, these next few weeks are way more powerful than just the what we're going to be going through in the curriculum and the journey to oneness in our one communities. If you're interested, just reach out to us on Mission1Race.org, and we'll be going public with a lot of this stuff soon. So you're getting a preview into it. But I do want to do some of the heavy lifting, and then talk to Mona, and you're going to see our conversation, and then land the plane with a close. The same thing is going to happen on what's today? Was it on Thursday and Friday and Saturday? So that's the pattern. I'm going to bring in, say hi to you, introduce you, lay the foundation, share a little bit of the curriculum and the understanding around it, get right to these interviews, and say goodbye and part ways until the next hour to change. So connect. I want to lean in and unapologetically, this is what I ask. The same way that I do not judge you, and nor I think there's something potentially on the screen of our verse. There we go. Or ask you, or judge you based on your beliefs and or your relationship or faith or not. I unapologetically put mine forth, saying that I have to speak about it, because before I tried to walk the path of the way, following Jesus, asking for the love of God to be in my heart, I did not care about you or anyone else almost. So for me, there is no detachment between this conversation for oneness and the journey away from bias and reconciliation without that. There may be a different story in you, and that's fine. If you're a humanitarian and you're saying, man, I can get down with what Mission1Race is about, we are not discriminating on any level, nor are we just a faith-based organization. We're an organization that unapologetically works on the connection and principles of the kingdom. But again, bear with me as I look at each of these elements, each of these principles that are bounded on some biblical truths. So let's lean into this longer verse. I'll break it down quickly, definition, and we'll go right into the video with Mona, okay? John 17, 20 through 25. just a very quick setup. This is Jesus's final prayer before he actually goes to the cross and is killed unjustly. And so it's critical. He's saying, this is what I leave behind. It's almost like you can think of it in somewhat of some final words. I do not ask for these alone. And he's talking about his disciples here. But I ask for those who will believe in me through their word, that they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me, and I in you, and they also may be in us, so that the world may believe that you sent me. I'm actually going to even stop there. We can move over to the definition. Listen to me very carefully in that verse. In John 17:11, he asks for the actual disciples to be one with him. And we can understand that. And we can understand that because I get it. Those are the disciples that are ones that roll with you. But then the reason that 20 is important to me, that never was really taught to me, that came to me so clearly on this mission, that moves me even now, is that that's the lie. He didn't just ask for us to be one with people that already believe and already got it or whatever, or saw the way I saw it. He said, I pray for any person, period, that will believe. I'm going to tell you right now, any potential person I talk to and come in contact with, just like I was for my life up until 18 years old, was a will believe. And thank you for all the people that treated me and were one with me and that connected with me, though I didn't want to hear it. Not with an agenda. We don't have to have an agenda. But then the last part of that leans into the fact that guess what actually makes people want to ask about our faith, about how I walk, is about how we connect with them, how we love on them, not how we lecture them. So I truly believe that part of Jesus' prayer is transformational. And whether you're a person of faith or not, you need to lean into that and go, wow, how do I become one with every single person, not just the person in the walls of a church, not just the person that knows how to pray the right prayers, the person that's hurting, the person that's maybe using profanity, the person that's maybe struggling in life, that's maybe on some kind of addiction, that's confused by some area. We're one with them too, because we all affect each other. We all affect each other. And that can be a good thing. That is a good thing. Let's connect. Here's the definition: bring together into contact so that a real or notional link is established. Join together so as to provide access and communication. Look how powerful this is, you all. By connecting with someone, you give them access. You give them access to love. You give them access to your resources. You give them access to the circle. Like, let's provide access to everyone. I'm going to say this right now. I'm challenging anybody that has any kind of place of welfare, including one of spiritual welfare, meaning a church that a person doesn't know, no matter who they are, that they don't have that they have access there. If there's anything in between their access to where you are and where they are, I'm telling you, that's not perfect love. That's just the bottom line. Connection gives them access. You have access to me. You have access to communication. And when we bring together so that we can have a real or notional link is established, that link not only makes you the connector, maybe even an initiator in that stronger, it makes them stronger, makes the integrity of whatever organization stronger, our community stronger, our planet stronger. We were designed that way. There's even science behind that we'll lean into. That goes, man, we feed off each other, our energies, our presence, our love. Mona shares some stories and moments like that. I can't wait for you to see her. And I want to say thank you for coming into this hour 5. Here is myself and Mona Clark. I love it. I love it. I love it. I feel like this is probably the most casual I've ever seen you, Mona. Every time I'm seeing you, woman of God, it's been like in running clothes and sweatbands and sweaters, right?
Oh, true, right? I'm always wearing my running gear, right?
You're always out there running, but for others. Like I guess rolling into this, do you just run to run? Or are you like me, a charity endurance, a charity runner? It's for a cause normally, right?
Yes, it's always been for a cause, running. I don't typically run, but I do need to exercise. So I've got COVID legs right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I ran yesterday with my sister at the Jefferson Trail, and like when I ran with you for
The Pentecost run, Day of Oneness.
The Pentecost run. Oh my God, I had COVID legs and lungs. So yeah, I've been working on my yard, so that's been like a lot of labor right there. So that's been my physical activity. But
man,
I do want to increase my exercise, but I'll do a run like where we typically are our training run area to the beach, which is beautiful.
So beautiful. So, okay, this is what I'm thinking and feeling. And we obviously have a handful of questions that I did send your way, but we find ourselves on hour 5 of the 8 hours to choose, right? Just the rough concept was our birthday as a country. So anyone that's in this country, no matter what visa you're on, whether we immigrated here, whether we were born here generational, whether we came here through the means that we know happened in the United States of America's past, we can't act like that wasn't a part of our history, right? When we got independence and celebrated that Independence Day, it was ironic because there wasn't independence for everyone. But watch this, no matter what it is right now, we find ourselves, and we can go deep into this or not, but we find ourselves in a reality of how connected we are, right? And the good and the bad of that. The good and the bad of that. With COVID, what did you just say? Coronavirus. There's no one on this planet that this pandemic hasn't touched in some way, right? And maybe it just in your life, I don't know how open or how much you feel like sharing. I mean, has it affected you? And besides running, right? Obviously.
I think like for everybody, it's been hard. It's been really hard. It seems like a dream, and it doesn't seem real. Like it's it's a lot of anxiety, unknown, fear. I have a daughter that has asthma, and she's been hospitalized in the past quite a bit. So I have to watch out not only for myself, but for her. And so being home a lot and just not the unknown is really anxious. And now we're in an uptick of cases.
Yeah.
So it brings anxiety. It brings anxiety. I have faith, and I trust God, but I'm still human. And we're still human. We still feel just like David. He had a lot of emotions and feelings that he shared.
So let me ask you this. When we started talking, like you just shared, you've been affected. We've been affected. I mean, life is not easy for anyone. I think folks have seasons. Some folks have seasons of good and bad. Some folks just have had it tough throughout, right? Some folks have had it pretty privileged throughout, right? And then that can bring about different things. But I know specifically, like you just said, you've had challenges, and I'm going somewhere with this. If that's the case, what is it in you that says, though I'm having challenges, though I'm in the middle of this, that says, but I have to, or but I feel called to, or but I want to think of other people? I mean, because, we're going to lean into connection, and maybe that's what the motivation is. You get what I'm saying? What is it in your mindset? Because not everyone has it in your heart that goes, yeah, all of that's the case, but I saw them put out information about Mission1Race, Day of Oneness, Pentecost run, which, again, we keep creating stuff. This stuff didn't exist before. I'm showing up. And you're just there. I don't understand your heart, and it's in a beautiful misunderstanding.
I think that I have compassion for people. I really do. I really care. I have a heart that's just drawn to help and to be there for others. And if I can do something, I will try to do what I can. And I think that being with other people at this time is helping, like even being on Zoom calls with people. Connecting with people through Zoom calls. And that's been a lifeline for me. one of the churches, John's church, they have a prayer time where they Zoom and we talk and we share. And sometimes it's coming from our hearts. Yeah. So that's been a blessing right there. And being able to be real, being able to share from your heart what's going on and others listening and praying. That's been a great help during this time.
One of the things we talked about, just to add to what you're saying, and the culture, because again, you've seen this in a place, and I say this, meaning Mission1Race, what it's about, from when it was just me on some random run that I'm telling people I felt called to do, broken on a Facebook Live where my body had failed me because I was consumed by the fact that I'm in a healthy way, just sick of the hate. Well before, and this is well before, right, any of this climate that we're in now, which I think I was being prepared to be stronger or positioned in this moment. But my point is, we try to walk authentically. And sometimes when you walk authentically as an organization or as a person, that's misunderstood because there's this pressure, right, to put on a facade to and or judge. And I think that's where it's coming from. I mean, I guess my question is, do you think that's why it's easy for you to somewhat connect? I mean, because you do value authenticity. So you see that in others, maybe? I don't.
I think like as you were bringing up that time when you were on Facebook and you were actually in the hospital that one time that really grabbed at my heart. And you were crying out for support and for others to help you because you wanted to run.
I wanted to run.
Your passion was your call for this loving others unconditionally, accepting others unconditionally, no matter what you look like, no matter what gender you are, what your gender identity is, no matter your upbringing,
yes,
whatever. You just want to fully accept others without condition. And my heart just wanted to be there for you. And
I remember when we shared that moment, you made me cry.
Yeah.
You came
in. It was like you were crying. Basically, I mean, you don't remember. Like, you don't remember. I remember saying you don't remember because you were just really in pain and really going through it with your body. But it pulled at my heart, and not only my heart, but others that ran with me in the middle of the night, like early in the morning.
What does that mean? So I know the movement from my perspective, but there's something about, I want you to maybe put me in your shoes, right? When you're like, I'm about to do this. And like, did you get people going like, what are you doing for where? This is not a real race. This is not like, like from the moment where you're like, I'm doing this to like, Ryan can connect. Take me through it.
Oh, I saw you there. I wanted you to finish what you started. Your body couldn't do it. You were in pain. Your legs were seriously in trouble. And I wanted to be those legs that completed the journey. And so I have legs. They work. And I said, like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to join in. And I don't know how long I'm going to run. I think I ran like 9 miles.
I know. You ran 9 miles. Yeah. Wait, you did more than one day.
Yes, I came the next day too. I think I came the next day or the following day. Yeah.
So you created what this, I don't even know if there's a next year. I mean, like, it's not like people don't understand. We're just going public. We haven't went public at the end of this sneak. It's going to be the both first public proclamation of like registration is open. I kind of gave away for the Journey 2020. You understand, based on the fact that you were a Journey team member before the concept even existed.
Yeah,
is that sinking in?
No.
And there's people signed up this time. Last time I ran alone and I had a registration. and legs, and nobody registered for me. It's kind of pitiful. And I think God does it for humility and other reasons, but also shows folks like you also can follow that call, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go the way you think. And right, there's humility in it, but I failed, but didn't fail.
But you're grassroots, though. You're starting from the beginning. You know, at first your voice is heard by some, and now as time goes by, it's getting louder and louder, and more people are learning about it.
I think the power is being heard through you all. I mean, because me saying it, and I will continue to, and I know that's a role how to play it. It's the multiplication of it. Even with the almost 30 people that are on our M1R family, I call staff, volunteer staff, right? Volunteer board members, volunteer council members, volunteers. That sounds funny.
That's amazing. That's great. That's so good to hear. Wow, that's really wonderful.
It's unreal. So what is connection? I guess is that word. You touched it a bit, but just if we were to define it, what does it mean to you? And maybe share an unlikely connection that you've had. Like, even if it's one of those silly moments, you ever have a moment that's like, wow, that was random. That was awesome. You know, it doesn't have to be big, simple, of just like connecting with another human being.
I think like we were talking, you were talking about connection, and something simple like passing the baton to someone else that was continuing the race.
You got to talk about that. Man. You got to talk about that, because we never had you made that up.
But that's how it was, though. I stopped. I had to stop. Somebody had to pick up the baton and keep going.
But you're not telling everyone, because I don't want this to be an inside joke. Like, this was not a thing. We did not say, okay, this is what the journey teams are going to do.
I know. I just kind of made it up. Here's the invisible baton, and here, you take it, you go. Yeah.
And then we started taking pictures of like the baton was the fingers. And I'm like, I'm already out of my mind. I'm like, what is going on? And Mona would stop people and go like, stop, no. You can't go on the next leg, pass the baton. And people, do you remember that?
Yeah.
And we had a series of pictures where people like touching their fingers.
I kind of just did an invisible one.
Oh, they changed it. Okay.
Yeah, it was an invisible baton.
But they turned it to the finger baton. It turned
into the finger baton. But I just remember a time just talking about people randomly connecting. I was just thinking about it on the good connection. Was when a stranger... I got a flat tire coming back from the Grand Canyon, and it was so blistering hot. I was with a girlfriend, and we were out there in the hot sun, and it was...
Oh, no, I'm losing your bit. Come back, please. The beauty of technology. Hey, Mona. The last thing I heard was about a random connection. You were about to tell us about that random connection.
Okay.
Yeah. And we do know that you were in Arizona coming from the Grand Canyon in the blistering heat. And that's the last thing we heard, you and a girlfriend.
Yes. So we were in the blistering heat outside, and this random stranger comes to our rescue. I mean, in the hot sun, and he just came to our rescue, and he put the spare tire, which really was kind of a toy tire, it looked like. And so he drove us in his car, and we followed him in his car to this place so that we can call to find out where we can get a tire. But he treated us to ice cream. That was like the greatest thing. I don't know him. He was so sweet. And then he said, if you ever see my mother on the street, don't forget to stop for her and help her. So basically what he was saying, if you see somebody else that needs help,
pay it forward.
Pass it forward and help somebody else out. But that was just being kind, it was just amazing. It was like one of my angels,
Wow.
He was, yeah. And another time when we were in Big Bear and another Big Bear, I slid on black ice.
Ooh.
I slid on black ice and I went off into the embankment. And thank God we didn't go over like down the ditch.
So you're like on this is the mountain, a pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, this is the mountain. And it was raining, but you couldn't see that the water had turned to ice because I guess we were going up in elevation. We slid off and we were stuck in the snow. I couldn't get out. So I get out of my car and this gentleman stops and said, "Do you need help?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "I've got a rope. I'll pull you out." So he did. He pulled us out. And then I went to my car to do something and I came back to thank him and he was gone. But
more of these stories.
Yeah.
These stories happen to people. But you're so caring. I think there's also just like a team of angels that are just like, whenever moment, we're either going to tap a human being or we're going to do it ourselves and disappear. I mean, that's just like amazing. So because you're on the bankment.
Yeah, it was scary. My daughter was crying, "Mama, sorry, we're going to die." No, but we were okay. Thank God.
I'm glad you started off with that, with the positive, because this is kind of in the truth section of things, and we are being honest that we're in the midst of knowing that people are still being hung for being a certain color.
Yes.
People are being abused, treated unfairly. So with that in mind, I unfortunately, I bet you have also an example of a disconnect. I mean, you were trying to connect, or like, I don't know, it doesn't have to be violent. I mean, because really, we always think it's these big violent things, and it's the day by day, like micro, right? Like disconnects that people let you know, like, I don't even see you as a human, right? Like, I really don't care about you.
Yeah, you're so right. I just want to speak on behalf of my daughter. My daughter's, I'm Mexican American. My daughter's African American. She's mixed.
I didn't know.
And so because of the recent hangings, she was telling me, "Mom, I'm scared to be outside because I'm afraid that somebody might try to hang me." And my heart just went out to her. And I told her, "I'm so sorry, sweetheart." And I was just thanking God that I had girls, because I know being an African-American male, is so difficult, of what African-American males have had to go through every day of their life. And my husband, who wears a suit in an elevator where white women are pulling away from him and grabbing their purses, thinking he's going to take their purse. He's in a suit. He's got a great job. He's a mortgage banker. Yeah. And that insult, to have to deal with that. But actually, I've received this, just judgment coming from my own race, Mexican. I remember I was at my house, my mom's house, and there was a Mexican there. I think he was a gardener or something. And I'd spoken English. This was like maybe about 20 years ago, but the disdain look on his face, like, why don't you speak Spanish? There's something wrong. What, are you too good? Are you too good to speak Spanish? And it was just, my girlfriend was there. She's African American, and she noticed it. She goes, "Mona, I could see his attitude. This is just judgment. You don't know anything about me. You don't know my history. I'm third generation. My parents spoke English to me. Yeah. I speak conversational Spanish. I learned it from my friends. My great-grandmother taught me a little bit. On the job, I pick it up." Yeah. But just to see that judgment, like, this attitude from him and this disdain on his face, because
that's a nuance that not a lot of people would know of, that comes with the pressure in this country at times, of either feeling like you're assimilating, right? Because of how we speak. So even if it's still English, I'll tell you a struggle that relates to what you're saying. I remember growing up and going down south and going to other areas and people saying, "Hey, you talk like a white boy."
Exactly.
And like, in a way that's like, whoa, have we got to that point where you have to speak Spanish if you're a certain ethnicity or color? You have to talk English in a certain vernacular, in a way, and twang. And we don't know anything about me.
You're put down for not being Black enough, or talking
or Mexican enough, or Asian enough. Like so many ethnicities, or even in gender, you're not feminine enough. Man, you're not masculine enough. I mean, all these false degrees of separation. We've got these black and white lines where we're saying this is the way, right? You are to act,
right?
That are coming from.
What's the matter with talking like like the neighborhood I grew up in? You know, I mean, so I sound Caucasian, or I don't know. What does that mean?
And what does that even mean? Exactly. We're going down a tunnel. That's an awesome tunnel, because it's like, what does that even mean? Like, what value is attributed to that? We even have to be careful with our levels of education that we have been able to gain, right? Even my degree and so forth. I was given opportunities. My athletic ability gave me opportunities. But even if I am able to gain that degree, or my master's, or whatever the case may be, does that then in return make me inherently more valuable, or of a higher class of human being? Like this, we walk around, and I don't know if you've seen it. It's a part of our curricular journey. Is this false degrees of separation, and one of them is location, and one is vocation, one is education, and we don't. And they may happen in small areas. They may not be as noticeable as the outright sexism at times, the outright racism at times, right? The outright religious judgment that happens at times, but they're there. In those little nuances that we have to watch our heart, that disconnect us, right? That leave us in a place. So Mona, if I was to be able to possibly clone you, because that would be awesome. I'm just being real. Like, if there was more.
My kids are like that.
I know. I'm sorry, kids.
Teenagers. Teenagers.
Well, you're nice. And I've known you for years, and you don't. I didn't know. Not that it matters that your children are multi-ethnic, that you like, because you don't walk around like that either. Just like, this is my life. This is what I love. This is what I had kids with. It's not a big deal, and it's so organic. I would say both in that area as well as in the area of connection. What would you say to them? Not to judge them. Like, how are you walking around in day to day in life that allows you to do that so freely? Because there is pressure, right, for people to say, you talk to these people and that's your people, right? Why don't you feel that pressure? Why do you feel like I can connect with anyone? Am I putting that on you, or do you feel like that?
Oh, no. I think that I don't judge. I don't put labels. I just see people as human beings. I mean, they're human beings. They're God's creation. I mean, I went one time to Skid Row, and they had a prayer meeting. We were walking around and just praying for people, and they were serving the homeless people there, and I helped the homeless. I would help this elderly lady sit down, help her with her food, and I would serve them. You know, I didn't judge them. Yes, they are homeless. Yes, right. They could have all kinds of sort of mental, emotional addiction. They can smell, they can look, they look righty. But my heart is saying, they're God's children. They need love. They need food. I care about you. I wanted them to know I care about you. I don't judge you. I accept you. I want to help you. And I think that a lot of people just put judgments and preconceptions about people, the untouchables. They might consider homeless people untouchables. but God doesn't see that. God says for us to serve others.
And he prays that we are one with everyone. And that's not just a church term. And I'm going to say this and then I'm going to ask you maybe some parting words.
Okay.
Because Mission1Race says we are uniquely the same. So we end in sameness. The uniqueness is beauty. That we're not saying everyone needs to be cloned, even though I was joking with you, and that everyone gets to love. See, that everyone is the problem that we have. We even say, "Oh, they're my enemy." I'm sorry, whether you believe in the Bible or not, but we know biblically we say love your enemies. And then the golden rule is this: treat others the way you would want to be treated. Right. So if you want to be treated based on just your last action or lack thereof, or your lowest moment in your life, right, then treat others like that. But if you want to have that second, third, 100th chance that we all need, right, then that's what we need to forward to folks. We're not saying that we need to all think this, act alike. That would be boring as well. Let's agree to disagree, or whatever the case may be, or seek to understand in those angles. And there's two people that I'm hoping you to speak to here, Mona. And you just did one, and maybe it's however you want to say it. But if a person is considering joining this movement, because you've seen it from the very beginning, what would you, or what aspirations do you have for Mission1Race, based on you being called into it and being part of the founding of it? And the next thing, what would you say to a person that's considering getting out there and maybe running part of this journey 2020 that's happening? Just kind of mull over that and maybe speak it, because you've done it. How many marathons have you done, Mona?
Oh my gosh, 7.
7 marathons. When did you start? I was just about to turn 50 when I did my first one. I can't even. You wonder why I said the clone thing, because it's like that's not. I know you run marathons for others starting at 50. So what would you say if you have parting words to, like, hey, this is Mission1Race family that are serving in this mission, right? Like, give inspiration both to our team as well as someone potentially seeking to join it or just be a part of the journey coming up in December.
Well, I think for the people that have joined their team, they have your heart and the call to the word that came to me as I was talking to you this few minutes is acceptance. And that's what we need to do. We just need to accept, no matter what.
Accept, embrace, love. Yeah.
We are all human beings. We are all have a heart, and we hurt. We have pain, we have emotions, we have feelings. We've been through all kinds of different things. And some of those that have attitudes and judgments, they have their history too. Yeah. So we need to accept them as well and love on them as well. And just love on them.
I love it.
It's hard, but that's what needs to happen. Yeah. And I think that your heart for just spreading love or spreading acceptance is what we all need. We need more people to be accepting and inclusive and warm and embracing of everyone. And we need that as a community. We need to embrace each other.
Yeah. So I'm not going to put you out there and say, hey, Mona, so what leg are you running, or what relay leg? Because, by the way, this year it's different because of what you did. There's so many ways to get involved. But if you do decide to, you let me know, right? And I'll get you in contact with our events coordinator.
Yeah, I can run a leg. or two.
Oh, so you did. I wasn't gonna put you out there. You heard it here first. We'll determine what day.
Oh, I got COVID legs, but I have to start running and practicing.
Mona, we have an awesome training plan.
Okay, good.
From our events coordinator and our brother Josh Fly. Shout out to him, who's been like kind of like our training guru, breathing guru, and you're gonna get to know him more and gonna be our coach a bit for these for our extreme endurance athletes. So for both the folks taking on the 250 or taking on maybe a 60-mile day or taking on a 5-mile leg. Who knows?
All of it. Mile day. Woo, Jesus.
That's the longest. That's the longest. The longest leg day is 60. The shortest leg day is 30, which is when it goes across Los Angeles. And then, of course, we break those up with their day relay team can be up to 4 people, right? And a overall journey team can be up to 8 people. But we'll talk more about that. So this is your word of encouragement because you're saying you're in. So you might want to be like, join me. You might want to say, join me or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, this is like, come on, join the ride, join the journey.
I don't think we can add any more to that. That's it right there. Come on, join the run, join the journey. Mona, I might get you recorded saying that. That's going to be like our join the journey. You're welcome. It seriously is that. So thank you for that. Like there's no pre-qualification because we even have a virtual aspect. We're thinking of inclusivity to the next level where we're saying, are you physically impaired? We want to make a way that you could start a page, right? And us determine some kind of activities or posting or whatever that you're a part of the lead up to the journey. That's the kind of things that these brilliant folks on our team are developing as we speak. Like radically going wonderful. From this extreme race to radically inclusive.
That's wonderful. That's great. That's so good to hear. That is so good to hear.
So good to see, Mona. Well, I'm going to let you go. And
okay.
God bless you. Love you, my sister. And peace and love.
In the
name of love, mission, and oneness. I'll talk to you later.
Right. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye. Did you all enjoy that? I know you enjoyed it because you're thinking if you're a person that's possibly have been airing each of these hours, there's like a good break from my voice. Look, I'm getting tired of hearing me. Of course, anyway, let's not do all that. What a great moment. What again, no prompt. No like precursor. No, this is what I want from you, Mona. In terms of I'm coaxing her to say anything like that, and that's what I love. And what a person to kick off the next phase of these 4 hours. And tomorrow you're not going to want to miss. The next day you're not going to want to miss. And we will end in an epic way, in an epic invite when we have the last day of ACT. But I want to leave you with the actionable items that we always like to do, because it's not just a head thing. It's also not just a heart thing, right? There's physical steps actual steps we want and need to take for this transformation to happen. Someday, whenever you want to geek out, and we'll give you some information on how to connect with us, you'll see the strategy behind Mission1Race. Like just looking at one aspect of it, if you were to smash up probably, I don't know, 3 movements, maybe 8 movements, really, because we have 8 journeys and 3 paths. Each one could stand on its own as enough to have a full-time effort towards. And we did not go small because the vision was big, it was huge, and we know the pain is real. So following out of that, this word connect, I couldn't help but think antonyms help you, right, describe definitions or define words more so oftentimes than saying what is connection. What isn't connection? Separation. What isn't connection, right? Breaking apart, disassociation, distance. So if we're looking to connect and we're looking at ourselves first, always first, saying what areas might I be doing that, right? And is it justified? Most of the time, if not all the time, it's not. So that's where we start with. So let's just have this moment to discuss and decide. Then I want to leave you with a couple of the social factors and social elements, and then our 3 points and 3 CTAs as we always do. And then I'll let you go about your day and land the plane on hour 5. I'm just thankful that we got here. It's been a fight. It's been a battle. You guys, one day we'll tell the making of, right? The making of Mission1Race, 8 hours to choose. Sounded like a great idea. It sounded a lot easier than it actually has been, like most things in life, right? Including Mission1Race. So there you go. Let's discuss this. Where have we, or when have you sought to connect or seek connection even now? And maybe some moments where that has or haven't happened. And feel free to chat. Like, I know we're asking about very vulnerable things on a public chat to put there. So I know the probability of that happening is low, but when has probability stopped me before? If you guys know, that's not a thing. So it's a chance, but we are getting private messages that way. We do have an opportunity for you in the future where we're going to have this movement, these one communities that are going to be throughout the United States where you might feel and beyond one day and beyond, where you might feel comfortable in sharing that. So those are the 3 elements that I want you to review right now. And now let's get tangible, get a piece of paper. Who might you, right? You can't do anything for folks that you're seeking connection from, that have disconnected from you for unjust reasons or reasons that are to your identity, to your vocation, to your thoughts, to your political views, to your whatever. You can't force that. And we just gotta, be gracious in that time. We don't have to be, but it's best to be. But how about who we're disconnecting from and how to connect in that aspect? I'm not getting into anybody's personal business again. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the person at work that you're not friends with, but just because you know this about their life that you don't agree with or you judge, that you've decided to treat them as less than human. That's an example. Let's get that list going, right? So after that happens, we just decide. Watch this. What we talk about with this 8 hours to choose, the United States of love, we the people of the United States of love, we're making that choice. All of us making those small choices together collectively changes the country. There's not some force that takes away our freedom to act or choose to be loving. That is still a freedom of ours. Freedom to choose that way. That's still a freedom. So being so worried about everything else, and I'm not saying there's not systemic and systems and academic and economic and socioeconomic, everything else that needs to happen. I'm telling you from a perspective, if you know my story, you know I've been through it on my own end, but what can we control? We can control how you talk to people at a gas station. See, I'm getting real here. Don't blame that on a system. That's you being rude. That's me being a jerk. That's me choosing to not treat the person serving me, changing my oil, bringing me my groceries, not to choose to not treat them with the value and the dignity they have. The person that needing some welfare to get through in a tough time that's been disassociated. The person that is living homeless right now that we don't know the exact things that brought them to that point. That's us choosing that. We can't blame that on the system. Let's connect. In the midst of doing the things with legislation, in the midst of hoping to speak to people and peacefully demonstrate where we say there's not justice in that, let's do it all. But let's us do the work inside ourselves because no one has arrived. Okay, so that's the decide factor. That list, decide, connect. Let me land the plane here. I want to show a couple of these moments. I almost forgot about it, but I can't forget these moments just so you know this is a teaser even to go take a look at Man on a Mission, right? The search for oneness. This is our sister. These are those moments we talked about where you're going to see a broken me in the second picture. And the first one, this is Mona. Again, this mission would not be the same without her. And I want to share this photo with you. It would not be the same without her. And this was the moment that we shared. It was a beautiful moment. And it's going to take me back. That's shout out to my Simi Covenant, Simi Valley team. I see Jennifer there. I see my sisters there from Simi Covenant. They ran during day 5, the longest leg. They had a relay, and I was broke and beat down. giving direct orders that you had 95%. I had 95% kidney failure. It was going to be permanent, but then stop. And compartmental syndrome developing my right leg. Was going to lose use of that as well. And then people like Mona out here, you can't see it in this one, but she's going to develop it. She's making up something. The one baton. Let me see the next one. Look at this. You can see it clearly in this one. You see this? I'm holding it up because just before that, she said she did an air baton and we started touching fingers as it evolved. Now we're somewhere, shout out to my sister there, Lindsay. Shout out there to my brother. Now I'm feeling crazy. Don't be mad at me. I'm forgetting names. Mona and Dave Lee. Boom. You ain't gonna get me, Dave, because I know Dave will be watching this saying, I see how it is. I'm running through the night. You forget me. I was broken there in a coat. This was such a night of connection and so beautiful. We ran through the night because Mona said, as you heard her say, that this mission needed to be completed. That is connection. That's humans getting together. I would again fail. Let me be clear about this. The physical aspect of Mission 1 Race 2019, the run, I did not physically complete 250 miles, but I did, because my brothers and sisters came out and relayed and created journey teams and ran the miles in between for me. If that's not a story, if that doesn't preach, if that doesn't tell what the truth of this is I couldn't do it. God told me in a moment in this, I wouldn't even let you do it if you could, because that's even telling a missed story. You can't reconcile with yourself. You can't put oneness out in yourself. You can't pull together enough ideas and strategies on your own, even in one organization, definitely not in one person or one ethnic group or one gender, to reach everyone in the margins. It takes all the people, representation from the margins, to be expressed to help us understand what's going on. And this race was it. So I want to show you right now how to connect with us. Okay. This is how you connect with us. On social media. Social media is not just social media for us. It's actually a part of something called movement message, one of our paths. We believe in it. We're getting better at it. We're refining it. We have a team that's sewing into it. We're thinking about the content. We're thinking about how we're walking. We're working towards sharing people doing it right, not just, and almost not just, mainly not folks doing it wrong. We get enough of that. We got everybody covering that. So we're not being naive, but we're covering folks leaning in to do it right. So it's Mission 1 Race, and Instagram is We Are Uniquely the Same on Instagram. That's our podcast coming. One of them, Mission 1 Purpose. That's our podcast community coming this month. We Are Uniquely the Same is coming in August. Richard Relaford, that's who I am. On Facebook, Mission 1 Race. Go ahead and like that page there. Richard Relaford. I'm on Facebook as well with my page. And my regular Facebook. I still have like some, I think your cap is 5,000 or something like that. I think I'm at 4,800 or something to that extent. And then Twitter, Mission 1 Race, and Richard Relaford. Also on LinkedIn, you'll see Mission 1 Race. Just Google us, if you will. So anyway, I'm landing the plane here. I can't do with that. Okay. 3 points. We are the United States of America. Number 2, the collection of us. We have the freedom to choose in 99.99999% how we conduct ourselves and act. 3, so choose love, choose mission, meaning looking outside, mission over self, and choose oneness. Here's the 3 CTAs. Go ahead, take a look, take that list and connect with some folks. Number 2, if you haven't watched it, or watch it again or share it again, Man on the Mission, the search for oneness, not because I'm in it, but because I really think the love of God's in it. I just think you see the brokenness and you see humanity coming together. And last but not least, tomorrow, connect. Hour 6, you don't want to miss it. Dr. Sean Moore, we're going into reconciliation. It's going to blow your mind. It'll be completely different. Much less of me just talking, little bit of content, a lot of interview. We're out in the name of love, mission, and oneness. Your brother, we are uniquely the same. Talk to you.